Today's episode is about being able to discern whether he is unsafe through his behavior or energy, or it is actually your own wounding, or it is a mix of both. I'm going to get extremely practical today, giving really relatable examples that allow you to truly discern. And this episode is for both women and men. This is a really important topic because unless you are able to see, is it his behavior? Is it something he hasn't healed? Or perhaps you're also contributing to it? Or could it really be that he's actually showing up and there is something deeper inside you holding yourself back from fully receiving and seeing that? My name is Lorin and I'm a coach, author, and hypnotherapist. I help you to understand masculine and feminine dynamics without being able to discern whether it's a man's behavior or your own wounding. As a woman, it makes it really hard to experience healing in a relationship. And it brings us to this kind of ancient, old, and also new and relevant now more than ever, the question of, is it fear or is it intuition? Is it my highest truth or is it old wounding posing as the truth? And of course, as a man in a relationship, you will also ask yourself, okay, I know she wants me to create safety, but is there perhaps some responsibility on her end as well? Like, how do we really discern? How do we kind of entangle the wild, chaotic mess and divine mess and imperfection of relationships to truly see what our responsibilities are, to truly understand how we are contributing to a dynamic and to ensure that we're not avoiding or bypassing or blaming the other person for something we have to take responsibility for or as well for. And sometimes it is a wild mix between both. There is bringing wounding into a relationship. The woman is projecting wounding from past relationships or a father wound onto him, but also coming from her intuition. Or in other cases, it might really be that the desire for safety is coming from a deep, heart-centered place, and the man is simply not showing up in a safe way. Or it might be a man who is actually showing up, and you as the woman, there's certain wounding that's not allowing you to receive his masculine energy, his presence. I'm going to give now relatable and practical examples, and then I will provide you with the distinction. So what I mean by that is, I will give the example of when it's a man's behavior, and then I will give the example of how you as a woman might be contributing to it or might be the main reason why you feel unsafe. Let's start with the first one, and that is truly the foundation. A lack of commitment and not feeling fully chosen by a man is the fundament of you feeling safe as a woman. As a man listening, a woman cannot feel safe in a relationship or a dating scenario with you if she does not feel fully chosen. If there is no clarity in what you want, your commitment, and where that relationship is going and heading towards. Now, if that is how a man is showing up, there is a lack of commitment, he's not truly choosing her, there is confusion around this, ex-partners still involved, there is a vagueness, I don't know where this is going, let's go with the flow, anything along those lines, this points towards the man showing up in a way very clearly and evidently, which is going to make the woman feel unsafe. And here the responsibility is not for you as a woman. You don't have to do anything for a man to choose you. I mean, of course, you have to choose him as well and you have to be committed. It has to be vice versa, of course. But you don't have to fight for him. You don't have to tell him or explain to him that he needs to commit himself to you or anything along those lines. In these moments, you're already abandoning your truth. You're already abandoning your power. So here it is very clearly his wounding that's creating unsafety for you. And there is no question whether it's your intuition or whether it's your deeper truth at play. It's your natural and healthy desire to be fully chosen. This is the true fundament of any conscious relationship. And if you don't feel fully chosen as a woman, then your feminine heart cannot relax. You don't know his intention. You don't know whether it's safe to open your heart. You don't know what's going to happen the next day. You don't know where things are going towards, and you also don't know, and understandably so, you don't know whether this is a man you can rely on. Because if with a lack of commitment not being fully chosen, when things get tough, it's most likely not someone you can rely on. And here is the key distinction. If you struggle with wounding with the masculine, or perhaps you have a father wound, or past relationship wounding with men, then even though a man might be showing up in a powerful or conscious or loving way, there might be a part inside you that never feels it is enough. And that is the distinction. Here I'm not talking about a lack of commitment. Here I'm talking about a man who is showing up, who is clearly devoted to you, and yet something inside you still does not feel fully chosen, or is afraid of being abandoned or rejected when minor or minuscule things arise. So here this is a very important distinction, because in this case you might not feel fully chosen, but it's not because he's showing up in an unsafe way. It is because something inside you might not feel fully worthy of being fully chosen. Something inside you is not allowing yourself, giving yourself permission to receive his energy, his presence, his service, him protecting you, him being there for you. Something inside you might feel you're not worthy of allowing yourself to fully receive. And in this case, giving yourself permission to receive the beauty and all the amazing things he's doing is so important. In one of my recent women's programs, a woman shared with me that there are so many things that her husband is not doing. And then I asked her, and how is he showing up already in a powerful way? And she paused and then came to the realization that she never really truly asked herself that question. Neither did she have her focus there. Neither was she appreciative of the ways he was already showing up. Now, does this mean that she should suppress her desire for more, or that he can show up in certain areas in a more expansive way? No. But her focus was on the lack, on the imperfection, on the things he wasn't getting right. But actually, as I coached her within the group setting, she very quickly identified that he was doing so many things and showing up in so many ways that are deeply safe, that are deeply devotional, that are an act of deep commitment. And when she started appreciating and allowing herself and giving herself permission to receive that, number one, it changed everything. She felt so much more love. She felt so much more chosen. And then the things she wanted to be different, she was able to express those in a really loving way, rooted in her heart, feeling deeply loved by him. And what happened then? He was able to receive them so easily. Whereas before he would face this constant criticism. So that's the distinction. Ask yourself internally as a woman, is he showing up? Is he devoted? Is he making clear where this is going? If yes, then are you appreciative of the ways he's showing up? And if no, then it means his actions are making you feel unsafe and you are coming from a conscious and heart-centered place. And as a man, if you are showing up fully, if you are fully committed, and there is no receptivity, appreciation of that in any way, and there is always focus on the criticism, then it means that it's not you. You are not to blame. You are showing up, you're giving your best, but you are allowed to be an imperfect human being. As long as your commitment is clear, give yourself grace and do not blame yourself. Stay rooted in your power. Let's move on to the next example, which is a lack of presence. When the feminine feels that we are not fully present in the relationship, when she cannot feel us, so we are physically present, but emotionally and spiritually we are not fully there. We might be having dinner with her, we might be engaging in whatever activity, and in these moments our mind is always somewhere else. This is going to cause a feeling of unsafety in her. And it's normal as a woman that you don't feel safe when our energy is always scattered, when our energy and presence is never fully with you. This is going, by definition, going to make it very hard for you to feel safe, because the feminine heart longs for the masculine to be present, not just physically, but with his energy, to really be here with her in the moment, attentive. And this naturally creates such a strong feeling of magnetism, attraction, safety. It inspires deep, deep trust. And this might reveal itself in, for instance, you as a woman, you're sharing some feedback with him and he's not attentive, or you're asking him for his support and help with something. And instead of really feeling into what it is that you truly are asking for or need in this moment, he's either dismissing it or being passive about it. He's not taking initiative, or he's just not in sync with you. You just don't feel him fully there with you. You feels as if he's with one foot in the relationship and here with you, and with the other he's completely somewhere else. This by definition is going to make you feel unsafe, and you will naturally feel a desire for him to be more present, because for us men it's often about this checkbox: spend time with her, did this, did that, with a very logical orientated, very kind of productivity mindset, like a machine, tuk, 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 tuk. But you're not asking for that. And sometimes we men, we take it completely differently. We think, oh, she wants this, and it's all complicated and confusing, and I don't have more time. But it's not more time, it's more presence, it's more energy, it's more attentiveness. That's going to shift absolutely everything. Now, what's the distinction here? If you always need us to be perfectly present, and there is no window of tolerance for us to be an imperfect human being, so if we have a tough day, so if we are usually very present with you, but then we come home from a tough day, we even might feel down a little bit, we're slightly distracted, and then you have a really strong response, perhaps saying, you're never there for me, I don't feel supported by you. And what happens here is that you're internalizing our imperfection or lack of presence in that moment, and it becomes a part of a wounded story, or part of an older wound perhaps. He doesn't care about me. He doesn't love me. And this puts so much pressure on the relationship, and it doesn't allow us men to feel safe. It doesn't allow us to be a human being. Then we feel we have to be this perfect ideal, which will naturally make a man walk on eggshells. And when a man walks on eggshells and tries to be this ideal, he's not in his authentic, rooted and grounded masculine power. He's in some kind of pleasing little boy energy at the end of the day. So, of course, men can do a better job. We can do a better job at communicating that. So, for instance, what I always advocate for is, for instance, saying, hey, baby, it's hard for me to be fully present here today. You might notice I'm distracted because I really had a tough day and I'm going for something here. So this kind of already kind of creates a safe space in that sense, by really very clearly and powerfully communicating without collapsing into total anxiety and dramatizing it in that sense, or playing the victim, but being really clear and intentional about what's going on and allowing her into our heart, right? But if there is this desire of you as a woman that we have to be always perfectly showing up, then essentially what's happening is that you are taking your self-worth or validation from us always being in this kind of perfect state, or we're perfectly attentive to all your needs. And we are also a human being, of course, and we're going through our things, and there has to be grace. So I'm not saying that you shouldn't call us out on our lack of presence, but I'm also saying there has to be grace. And only you can see truly in your life and honestly look at your situations, your dating or your relationships, what's really going on there. Only you can take an honest look and truly identify, is there a part of me that needs to take responsibility? Or is it truly because he's just never being there for me and I'm not asking for an impossible demand, I'm just asking for more presence. Another big one, last but not least, is a lack of taking initiative. And this is a really huge one. I give you an example. So we've got an electronic device in the house. One of our electronic devices made a hissing sound. And my wife kept telling me for a whole week that this hissing sound is really annoying and really loud. And I never took initiative. I was like, I gave an answer. I didn't dismiss it. But at the same time, I didn't really say, let me take a look, or, okay, well, I'm really busy right now, but why don't I'm going to take a look tomorrow or in a few hours or whatever. So I never really created any structure around this. I was just not taking initiative around it. And she kept telling me. So there's really two opportunities here. Number one, if you would say now, why did my wife not look at it and do it? Because then she has to step into her masculine energy. Then she has to kind of sort things out. And this is a more nuanced topic. I understand that, because maybe in your household things are different, right? For whatever reasons, and every couple has a different dynamic. But here what was happening, and my wife being very feminine, is that she was subtly inviting me and kindly, sweetly making me aware that something really powerful would be if I would take a quick look. And that, well, in that sense, wouldn't make her feel safe, but it would make her feel seen in that moment, even if it's such a minuscule thing. And of course, I didn't do it for a week, and then she asked me quite clearly whether I can take a look. And it just made me realize that, but even with such a minuscule thing, the lack of taking initiative causes a micro level of unsafety. And now in this case, this was a one-off in my marriage, so it's not a huge thing. But imagine this would be happening all the time, and I wouldn't be in my own practice of taking initiative and embodying my masculine energy. So what happens here, all these micro moments of never taking initiative, specifically around big things, moving, marriage, whatever it is, if there is no initiative, or taking the dog to the vet, or whatever, a checkup, if there is no initiative around these practical, specifically practical things, or even initiative around taking time to connect, initiative around setting up a date night, if you always leave things for her to sort, then she will be pushed into her masculine energy. She has to embody and cultivate more of her masculine energy, and the world already is asking her to cultivate so much more of her masculine energy. And if she has a feminine core in her nature, not all women, but many women have, then that's not going to make her feel safe. That's not going to make her feel truly aligned and in the relationship, and that she can rely on us. And it's very important when I share this. For men, this often sounds like, oh, another big job, another big thing I have to do. I'm already doing so many things. But it's less about doing a really big job, and it is more about taking initiative, even if these are small things, but not passively just allowing things to accumulate, and then she has to ask us millions of times, she has to point it out a million of times. It's going to not make her feel the way she really wants to show up. She has to cultivate more of a masculine energy. And it's also going to create a little kind of boy dynamic in the relationship, where it's like almost like telling us off. You said you're going to do it, you're not doing it. And it creates this energy that's just not very powerful. It's not an energy that's truly nurturing for her feminine core and for your masculine core. And listen, if you cannot sort something out, if you are completely busy, that is okay. Again, there needs to be grace, but then communicate. So for instance, what could I have done better in this example? I could have said, hey baby, I understand this sound is bothering you, and I'm really busy right now, and right now I can't, but you know what, this evening I'm going to take a proper look at it and see whether I can fix it. And this in itself, and then of course following through with my promise, that's even more important. But these micro moments create safety because I'm taking initiative. One thing doesn't make a huge difference, but many micro moments make a huge difference. And you want to use these micro moments in positive momentum, meaning creating more safety, more connection, more attraction, more trust, and her feeling she can rely on you, and not micro moments of lack of safety, disconnect, and he's not hearing me and I have to ask him a million times. Now, what's the key distinction here? Where might a woman have to take responsibility here? And that is when you want us to be mind readers. When it's not just about taking initiative, but it's like, I know as the feminine, I always say the feminine is subtle. The feminine is more indirect, which is her way of communicating. The masculine way is much more direct. And there is a beauty because polar opposites attract each other. If we were all doing the exact same thing, showing up in the exact same way, there wouldn't be attraction in that sense. There wouldn't be deep polarity or that dance of masculine and feminine energies. But if you want us to be mind readers, and inside her there's some kind of fantasy that when you express it once in a really indirect way, that then And then months later, nothing happens, and then you explode on us. And I'm not talking about an example where you said it many, many times, but it's almost like you expect us to be mind readers, to understand every single need you have. That's not going to happen. We can do a great job at being attentive, being present, and being in our masculine power, being in our leadership and our initiative kind of role. But at the end of the day, we're not mind readers. And sometimes we're not going to get it. And in these moments, it is important for there to be grace. And if it leads to a huge blow up, then essentially what kind of the message is I want you to be a mind reader. And if you're not showing up, again, it brings us into this realm of the impossible demand, the impossible task, setting us up for failure, sabotaging unconsciously the relationship. And what is it doing? It is affirming a story that is limited, that is wounded, a wounded relationship with the masculine. And the last important point in today's episode, especially if you as a woman had father wounding, didn't feel safe growing up as a young child, didn't feel safe to embody your feminine energy, or you had really challenging relationship experiences with men, and of course this society is in so many ways unfairly, and it's just not right, pushing you into your masculine energy, telling you be feminine and be this perfect, wonderful feminine being and woman, but at the same time cultivate all these masculine traits, be everything basically. That's what the society is expecting of you, which is toxic in itself and just an extremely impossible and unhealthy ask. But specifically, when you had challenging relationship experience with men or you experience the father wound, what can happen is even if you meet the right man, there might be a part inside you that is still guarding yourself, a part that still feels unsafe. And just remember, while we men can do a lot, we cannot make you feel safe and at home in your own body. We cannot compensate for the pain of the father wound, for the void that the father wound has left. So remember, we can do a lot, but you have to do your own work around making your body your sanctuary, your temple, and your home again. And if you are not doing your work around this, then it's going to be impossible, no matter how powerful the man is. And yes, you can heal your father wounding with a powerful man, but you have to do your own work. Because if you're not doing your own work, then you're not able to receive that. You're going to push it away. And a part inside you is still going to be guarded. And that is the illusion so many women believe, that when you meet the right man or the perfect man, that part is going to be healed. And that can contribute a lot to the healing, but it cannot heal it at the deepest root. That is your own work and your own responsibility. Remember, if you have responsibility in it, then it's usually because there is an energy of focusing on what's not going right, not being appreciative, or you're contributing to the unsafe dynamic that you are experiencing. Of course, there is much more to it, but I wanted to make this as concise and as practical as possible, as I possibly can. Now, for us to continue to serve you at the deepest and most powerful level, it would mean the world to us if you can take just a few seconds and leave this show thumbs up on YouTube. And if you want to write a little review, which will take about 30 to 60 seconds or so, just a few paragraphs or one paragraphs about how you feel and what insights you gained or how this show has impacted your life, this goes even further and allows us to reach more people. And of course, feel free to share this with someone who you think can deeply benefit from this work. And of course, if you share it on your social media, it will reach even more people. These are all little things, little ways, small steps that you can take for us to serve you at the deepest and most powerful level. Now, if you want to benefit from more free offerings, I've got a free newsletter coming out every Friday, lorinkren.com/newsletter, or click on the show notes. You can find it there as well. Or I've got free ebooks as well, lorinkren.com/books. You will also see my other books. I've written 2 books, Understand Women Better, and my second book, Love, Relationships, and Awakening. Thank you so much for being here. I'm deeply, deeply honored to be of service in your powerful and your unique journey.